What is going on? Protect Caitlin Clark at all costs, please. Enough of this. Please.
The basketball world exploded when Marina Mabrey delivered what can only be described as a savage attack on Caitlin Clark during a heated WNBA matchup. But what happened next shocked everyone even more. Late-night television host Jimmy Fallon made a desperate public plea that sent shockwaves through the sports world. The incident that unfolded wasn't just another basketball scuffle. It was a moment that exposed something much darker brewing beneath the surface of women's professional basketball.
You've got Marina Mabrey just coming in and Mabrey just crashing into Caitlin Clark, of course, slamming her to the ground. I've got a new angle of that, and it's even worse. It's even worse. The new angle on this is, it's like, whoa. And the fact that the referees didn't automatically throw her ass right out of that arena is exactly why all eyes are on the WNBA, the commissioner, Adam Silver, the NBA. Oh, my goodness. All eyes on them because they're officiating and how they're handling this full-on assault of Caitlin Clark is a joke, and now everybody is fully aware.
What started as a routine basketball game between the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever quickly spiraled into chaos. The tension was already thick in the air, but nobody could have predicted what was about to unfold. In the third quarter, Connecticut's Jacy Sheldon aggressively poked Caitlin Clark directly in the eye while defending her. Clark, clearly frustrated and in pain, pushed Sheldon away from her. That's when Marina Mabrey stepped in and delivered a forceful shove that sent the WNBA's biggest star crashing to the ground like a rag doll. The arena fell silent for a split second before erupting into chaos. Clark hit the floor hard, and what should have been an immediate ejection turned into one of the most controversial officiating decisions in recent WNBA history.
We're not talking about basketball after these games. We're talking about incidents. I just said yesterday or the day before, we're talking about an incident once or twice a week, every week in this league. This was not physical play. That's Bush League bullshit, street ball crap on a basketball court. And a lot of people don't want to watch that. They want to just watch basketball.
The referees somehow only gave Mabrey a technical foul and allowed her to continue playing. Fever coach Stephanie White was visibly furious on the sidelines. Fans were screaming at the officials, and even the broadcasters couldn't believe what they were witnessing.
Again, the league's been handed this miracle, this beacon of light, while it was down in some dungeon in the basement on life support, and it was never turned a profit, lost $40 million last year. They get handed this beacon of light, and all these players cannot stand her. They're jealous. The players union, it looks like the whole league can't stand her, including the commissioner.
But the real fireworks were just beginning. Sophie Cunningham, Clark's teammate, had seen enough. She wasn't about to let her star player get bulldozed without consequences. Later in the game, Cunningham took matters into her own hands with a hard foul on Sheldon that sparked a massive scuffle. Players from both teams got involved, and when the dust settled, 3 players had been ejected from the game. The message was clear. If the refs weren't going to protect Caitlin Clark, her teammates would.
Yeah, it did need a hard foul. Something needed to be done. And if the league aren't going to do it, if the team aren't going to do it, if Caitlin's not going to do it, you got to take it into your own hands. You got to take it into your own hands. And in that whole situation, Caitlin got the same penalty as Marina Mabrey. Yeah, Caitlin got the same penalty as Marina Mabrey. Caitlin got clawed in the eye, I don't think, again, Tina Charles tried to point at her, but still hit her. Tina Charles still hit her, and then got blindsided while holding her eye, and she got the same punishment for, shoving someone off after getting eye gouged. They are an embarrassment. They are an actual embarrassment.
But that wasn't the whole story. What happened next would shock everyone who thought this controversy would blow over by the next news cycle. Jimmy Fallon, the beloved host of The Tonight Show, did something completely unexpected. He broke from his usual comedic routine and made a serious, heartfelt plea for the WNBA to protect their brightest star. Fallon's statement wasn't just a casual comment during his monologue. It was a desperate call to action that resonated with millions of viewers. He specifically called out the league's failure to properly officiate games involving Clark and demanded better protection for the rookie sensation. The fact that a mainstream entertainment figure like Fallon felt compelled to speak out about WNBA officiating shows just how far this controversy had spread beyond basketball circles. His plea went viral within hours, with fans sharing clips across social media platforms and sports analysts weighing in on the unprecedented nature of a late-night host advocating for a professional athlete's safety. Fallon's influence brought national attention to what many had been saying for months. Caitlin Clark was being targeted, and the league wasn't doing enough to stop it. Other celebrities quickly joined the conversation, with many echoing Fallon's sentiments about protecting the WNBA's most marketable star. The mainstream media attention this generated was unlike anything the WNBA had experienced before, but for all the wrong reasons. Instead of celebrating Clark's incredible rookie season, the narrative had shifted to whether the league could keep its biggest draw safe on the court. The pressure from Fallon's plea and the public outcry that followed forced the WNBA into damage control mode. Within 24 hours of the incident, league officials made an embarrassing admission that sent shockwaves through the basketball community. They announced that Marina Mabrey's technical foul was being upgraded to a flagrant 2, essentially admitting that their referees had completely botched the call during the game. This wasn't just a minor correction. It was the league acknowledging that their officials had failed to protect their most valuable player in real time. The upgrade came with a $400 fine for Mabrey, which many fans criticized as nothing more than a slap on the wrist for what they viewed as an intentional attempt to harm Clark. The fact that it took public pressure and a celebrity's intervention for the league to take action raised serious questions about the WNBA's commitment to player safety. The timing of the league's reversal was particularly telling. It came after Fallon's plea had already gone viral and after thousands of fans had flooded social media with demands for justice. Critics argued that if Jimmy Fallon hadn't spoken out, Mabrey would have faced no additional consequences for her actions. This revelation only added fuel to the fire and reinforced the perception that the WNBA was more concerned with maintaining appearances than protecting its players. What made this situation even more disturbing was the pattern that had been emerging throughout Clark's rookie season. A detailed statistical analysis revealed that a staggering 17.1% of all flagrant fouls in the 2024 WNBA season were committed against Caitlin Clark. To put that in perspective, one player was the victim of nearly 1 out of every 5 flagrant fouls in the entire league. Even more shocking was the fact that 11.4% of all flagrant fouls came from Chicago Sky players targeting Clark specifically. These numbers weren't just statistics, they painted a picture of systematic targeting that went far beyond normal competitive basketball. Out of 34 total flagrant fouls in the 2024 season, Clark was involved in multiple incidents, making her far and away the most targeted player in the league. This wasn't rookie hazing or tough defense, this was something entirely different. The data show that Clark was absorbing more fouls than any other rookie in WNBA history, and it wasn't even close. The pattern became so obvious that even veteran players and analysts began speaking out about what they were witnessing. Some called it an unprecedented level of aggression toward a single player, while others tried to downplay it as normal basketball contact. But the numbers don't lie, and they revealed a disturbing trend that had been building throughout Clark's first professional season. The frequency of these incidents raised serious questions about whether opposing teams were specifically game planning to be physical with Clark. Were coaches instructing their players to be extra aggressive? Were veterans trying to send a message to the cocky rookie? The statistical evidence suggested that something more than coincidence was at play. Days after the incident, Marina Mabrey finally broke her silence with a controversial 8-word message that only added more fuel to the fire. Her response was simple but loaded with implications. If I don't defend my teammate, who will? The message seemed to suggest that her forceful shove of Clark was justified because she was protecting Jacy Sheldon from Clark's earlier push. Mabrey's defense immediately divided the basketball community. Her supporters argued that she was simply being a good teammate and standing up for Sheldon after Clark had pushed her. They claimed that loyalty and protecting your teammates is part of basketball culture, and Mabrey was just following that unwritten code. but critics saw her response as a weak attempt to justify what was clearly an excessive and dangerous play. The controversy deepened when Mabrey's family decided to escalate tensions by posting response videos on social media. Instead of trying to defuse the situation, they doubled down on Marina's actions and criticized the backlash she was receiving. The family's involvement transformed what could have been a contained incident into a social media war that kept the controversy alive for weeks. The family's decision to engage publicly showed just how deep the divisions had become. Rather than allowing the situation to cool down, they kept poking the bear and ensuring that the story remained in the headlines. Their defensive stance only reinforced the perception among Clark's supporters that there was no remorse for what had happened and no understanding of why the incident was so problematic. This entire saga highlighted a much bigger issue that has been simmering beneath the surface of women's professional basketball. The treatment of Caitlin Clark has become a lightning rod for discussions about competition and celebrity status in the WNBA. Some veteran players have suggested that the outrage over Clark's treatment comes from fans and media who only care about protecting her because of her star status, arguing that other players face similar treatment without receiving the same level of attention or concern. These discussions have created an even more charged environment around conversations about Clark's treatment. Critics of the targeting argue that player safety should be the primary concern regardless of celebrity status, and that anyone being subjected to this level of physical aggression deserves protection. They point to the statistical evidence and video footage as proof that something unusual is happening regardless of who the player is or their background. The debate has exposed deep divisions within the WNBA community about how rookies should be treated, what constitutes acceptable physical play, and whether Clark's celebrity status makes her a target. Some argue that she's receiving the same treatment that many rookies face when entering a physical professional league. Others contend that the frequency and severity of incidents against Clark are unprecedented and dangerous. Sue Bird, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, has tried to navigate this situation by discussing rookie treatment in general terms without specifically mentioning Clark. Her message about how the league handles young players has been interpreted by many as a subtle criticism of the way Clark has been targeted. Bird's reluctance to address the situation directly shows just how divisive this topic has become within the basketball community. The discussions surrounding this debate have made it nearly impossible to have honest conversations about player safety without accusations flying from both sides. This has created a situation where Clark's well-being has become secondary to larger arguments about representation and fairness in professional sports. Looking ahead, this controversy has forced the WNBA to confront some uncomfortable truths about how it officiates games and protects its players. Clark herself has acknowledged the situation by vowing to control her technical fouls in the 2025 season, suggesting that she's aware of how her reactions to physical play have contributed to the problem. Her mature response shows that she's trying to take control of what she can control while hoping that the league will address what she cannot. The incident with Marina Mabrey and Jimmy Fallon's subsequent plea have shined a spotlight on officiating problems that go far beyond just Caitlin Clark. Many observers have pointed out that WNBA referees have struggled with consistency throughout the league, not just in games involving Clark. The high-profile nature of this controversy has forced league officials to examine whether their referees are properly trained and equipped to handle the physical and emotional intensity of professional basketball. The league's initial failure to properly assess Mabrey's foul and their later reversal under public pressure has damaged their credibility with fans and players alike. It's raised questions about whether officials are making real-time decisions based on what they see on the court or whether they're influenced by the profiles of the players involved. The fact that it took a celebrity's intervention to get the right call made suggests that the system is broken in fundamental ways. For Caitlin Clark, this incident represents both a challenge and an opportunity. She's clearly established herself as the WNBA's biggest star and most marketable player, but that status comes with a target on her back that she'll have to navigate throughout her career. How she handles this adversity will define not just her own legacy, but potentially the future of women's professional basketball. The league's response to protecting Clark will send a message to every other player about what kind of conduct is acceptable on the court. If the WNBA can't protect its biggest star from unnecessary physical aggression, what hope do lesser-known players have when they face similar treatment? The precedent set by how this situation is handled will reverberate throughout the league for years to come. Jimmy Fallon's plea for protecting Caitlin Clark wasn't just about one player or one incident, it was about the soul of professional women's basketball. The fact that it took a late-night comedian to bring national attention to a serious player safety issue shows how far the WNBA still has to go in promoting and protecting its talent. The league has an opportunity to use this controversy as a catalyst for positive change, but only if they're willing to acknowledge the problems and take meaningful action to address them. The Marina Mabrey incident will be remembered as a turning point in Caitlin Clark's career, and potentially in the WNBA's evolution as a professional sports league. Whether it leads to better protection for players and improved officiating remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the basketball world is watching, and the league's response will determine whether they can truly protect their brightest stars, or whether incidents like this will continue to overshadow the incredible talent on display every night. The question now isn't whether Caitlin Clark can handle the physical demands of professional basketball, she's already proven that. The question is whether the WNBA can handle the responsibility of protecting its most valuable asset while maintaining the competitive integrity that makes the game worth watching. Jimmy Fallon's desperate plea may have been the wake-up call the league needed, but the real test will come in how they respond when the cameras aren't rolling and the celebrities aren't paying attention.